Hey folks, Vince the Evil DM, Railguns and Dragons, new edition this week. How are you all doing out there? Hopefully you're doing well. Again, we're back with a new show here this week. Continuing along in the Palladium Fantasy 1E book. A couple things to note. I appreciate all the people coming to the channel, liking the channel, leaving their comments, and asking about future videos. I do enjoy the short videos that sometimes I do, and I appreciate the feedback on those short videos and people answering questions to that. If it's your first time here, hopefully you enjoy it. Like the video, give it a good thumbs up. Go ahead and leave a comment below, and subscribe if it's your first time here. If you're a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Why not? Why are you returning without subscribing? Teasing. I know some people in the statistics are returning viewers that have not subscribed. Maybe I haven't proven myself yet. Hopefully I will. I mean, come on. Hit that subscribe button. Why not? Hit the bell notification to make sure you know when my videos come out. Unscripted Evil is my live show every Friday night, 7:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where myself, Jeff, and DM Bloodworth from Unscripted and Unchained channel reviews we will sit and we'll talk about the latest and greatest in gaming. As far as topics go, it could be anything from Star Wars to Palladium to D&D to sensitive topics like gatekeeping and who should be at your table and why they shouldn't be at your table and why we should play a certain way and how the OSR is dying or not dying. Who knows? We might be talking about those things. This week, we have author Joseph Block of Adventures Dark and Deep, Clone. He'll be visiting and joining us as a guest co-host. So if you'd like to stop by Friday night, go ahead. The link is here in the show notes. You can also just go to my channel. There is a live set up there, or you can go to my Facebook page. There's an event set up for the live show as well. But let's get right on to the class at hand, the Summoner. If we flip to page 113 of the book, we can see that. And let me get down there for you. Summoner, boom! Well, the Summoner is known as the Mad Mage, the Circle Master, and is the most feared of all the magic of men. He is feared because he sacrifices and self-inflicts wounds. So summoners aren't really looked upon in a good light. People consider them like evil or, practitioners of the dark arts, as they would say in, most weird settings, I guess. I guess they use it here too, but every time I think of dark arts, I think of Harry Potter and dark arts, so... Anyway, so back to this class. It seems they're mostly limited to selfish and evil alignments, though they say you can be any alignment, which would basically restrict a lot of the things you could do for the class, which is why they recommend selfish or evil. As I said, most people will look upon a summoner with kind of fear, kind of disdain, depending on how they had their past experiences. It's your campaign, so you could figure out how you want to handle that. Make sure you do tell your player, though, about this. Though reading it, they should probably get that impression that summoners are, not really welcomed. But again, talk to your player about it. You can do the multiple OCC thing if you really want with this class. There's no restrictions on that, though they do say that most of them will fall into a religion. A man of magic or maybe a religious type person, depending. Hand-to-hand combat and armor rules are the same as a wizard, so just refer to that. Religious preference. Now, this is a little bit different because they lean towards gods of darkness, gods of tout, demons, devils, and old ones. Though they may follow any particular religion, sect, cult, or church. Those don't matter. The gods do. You can be a heretic or a pagan or something like that if you really want to, bending the rules, but why not? Some people prefer not to really determine their religion in the game because they don't want to bother with that. Totally understand that. My campaign player is I think a heretic or a pagan. I'm not sure exactly. Summoner abilities now. You get the following abilities with the class: Power Words, Mystic Symbols, Recognize Wards, and Circle Magic. Power Words work the same way as the Diabolist. Mystic Symbology, the same as the Diabolist, and is used in making your circles, so you actually apply them just as much as they do, except you use yours in your circles. The only thing that is restricted is runic magic or runic symbols. Summoners have zero clue about how they work. They do recognize runic symbols when they see it, though most people will probably recognize it anyway after a time being, so there's no real advantage of it. A summoner has the ability to recognize wards, but they really have no idea what a ward does or how a ward works. They can see a ward and be like, that's a ward. No idea what that ward does, though. 90% chance. Now, on to summoner magic itself, or circle magic, I should say. Let's see here. So as the summoner grows in experience, so does his power of summoning along with it. So his circle magic increases, and his saving throws for resisting other circle effects will increase as well. You have to reference page 122 right here, where it says magical combat, or magic combat, excuse me. They get a +1 to save versus circles at level 1, and at level 2, they get a +1 to their circle strength. So, heading back, that was just something to note while we were sitting right there. They do have that ability there. Circle magic starts with circle of protection. These various circles can protect you, or loved ones, or friends, or party adventurers, however you want to call them, from the various evils of the world, so to speak, or the good people of the world, or whatever you really want to call it. They have various protections from angels, devils, demons, elements, forces, evil itself, fairy folk, good, ghosts, spirits, jinn, magic, simple, and superior itself, old ones, though that might be difficult, undead, witches, and werebeasts. Now, a summoner knows all these circles of protection, as that's part of their training, so to speak. But the thing is, they're not always able to readily make these circles because some of the components are not easy to find. So it may be difficult to do some of these circles. Summoning things like creatures and stuff like that really don't start until level 2. But you do have the ability to have circles of protection and circles of power at level 1. Circles of protection are generally takes about 15 to 20 minutes to, I guess, draw up and prepare, and then they have to say the magical words, and it's pretty much permanent until destroyed. Generally, you want to make them as big as you need them to be. Now, if it's just for you personally, you're probably going to make a small circle so that you could sit and or stand in or lay down in or whatever you want to do, as long as it's enough for you and whoever it needs to be. So it's pretty simple. Now, when it comes to summoning, you can various beasts at level 2 or demons or whatever at level 2. It doesn't actually start until level 2 based on the wording in the book here itself. And it is right over here. I'll show you that in a second. Summoning circles. Let's see. 1 lesser demon, devil, or subdemon, fairy folk, minor elemental, ghost, and animal per every 2 levels of experience, which means at level 1 you cannot use this ability. 1 greater, devil, demon, gargoyle, blah, 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 for every 4 levels of experience. So you really can't summon things right away. Now, summoning things generally is a difficult task, and it's not something you could do during battle. It's something you have to prepare for. In fact, this entire class is not a battle type class. Now, that's not saying that you can't affect the battle with this class. Now, with the right preparation and cunning, you could lure your, I guess, victims, as you so to speak, into the area where you could set off a circle. So preparation is the key for this class, and if you know what's going on ahead of time, you can easily set up a situation and lure people into it. Though circles can take a long time to actually put together, and some of them can take an hour, 2, maybe, who knows? It really depends. Now, summoning creatures itself, there's going to be a battle of will, obviously, with the creature that you summon. So you have to make the circle big enough for yourself. So basically, you're making 2 things. You're making a circle for yourself to protect yourself, and you're also making a circle to summon something, which opens up a portal or door or lures something to the circle. You don't have to use the circle for yourself if you feel that this person or creature or whatever is not going to attack you when you summon it. It's best to have your circle of protection ready to stand in just in case. Though the creature, when summoned and or animal and or person does not mean it can't affect the environment around you. It could smash the environment around you. It could destroy things around you while it can't get to you in a fit and rage. When you do summon, there is a mental endurance, like, contest of will that you have to go through, and the creature has to roll above the summoner's mental endurance, or his ME. And otherwise, if he doesn't, he's got 3 chances to do it. If he doesn't do it, he's pretty much in submissive mode for that summoner. If you go by the rules as written in this book alone, there is so much abuse to be had. And someone who likes to game the system, as I call it, or power gamer, or munchkin, or whatever you want to call it, I call game the system. These people try to break the system. They can really abuse and annoy the crap out of you as a GM. Luckily, Summoner had a look upon in book number 3, High Seas, which gave you some more information on summoning, what type of creatures can be controlled, and what happens if you do certain things to certain creatures, and does it give a bonus to saving throw if they start to do these things? Like if the summoner summons a certain type of creature and treats it like crap and decides, go kill yourself, does the creature have a chance to save? If you go by the rules as written, no. The creature will basically just go bleh and kill itself. Though if you've played any fantasy game, you would know that spells that would control a person or mind control or whatever, generally if there's self-harm to itself or someone it cares about or loves, there will be a resistance to it. Based upon that, I didn't have this book at the particular moment, didn't realize that they did this, and was worried when one of my players was playing a summoner, so I had to go scouring around for information, because we were playing 1E, not 2E here, and 1E is kind of vague. But I went to Palladium itself, and they reminded me of this book and this information of how things work as far as summoners go, and what are some of the things that they can't do and can do. So make sure you have this book at hand if you are playing a summoner or having a summoner in your game, because it will answer a lot of questions when it comes to summoning various creatures. Now, if the summoner summons a creature, like at 2nd level, to help him fight in battle, which is beautiful, that's what they're supposed to do, or would do, as long as they treat that creature with respect and, like a companion, then they should be fine. Though, there is only a certain amount of time that the summoned creature will want to stay with the summoner before it will want to return to its own home or be among free will. And the more that the summoner declines letting them go, the more angrier the creature becomes or resents the summoner. And then it starts to build up until the creature will start to turn on its summoned master and revolt. And again, this is not really explained here in this book, but it is explained in detail in the High Seas book. So make sure you have that book 3 for that information, so you can read it over and learn about it, because it's very, very important. Circles of Power are the final ability that they have. Now, they don't actually go into detail how a summoner gets these when they start. It just says right here at the very last one-liner throwaway, Circles of Power can be acquired by stealing, gift, purchase, and or decipherment. Now, do they start with any? No, not really. Could you give them? Yeah, you could. As a GM, it's your campaign. Could you say they have none? Yeah, your campaign. Really up to you what you want to do about it. But these circles are very powerful and shouldn't be taken lightly. Some of them take a long time to build, anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes. Some of them take as long as 90 to 120 minutes for things to happen. So again, these aren't circles that you would use in combat. They would be preparation things you do on the side outside of combat. Again, luring people into traps. These things can be used. So you never know what you can do. So anyway, the power circles are very good and very strong, so be careful how you do that, and make sure to sprinkle them along your campaign for summoners to find, otherwise they may get a little bit bored with their character class choice if you don't give them little tidbits here and there. Again, you can set up situations where the summoner can look for these things and make a whole campaign based on finding some of these power circles, because they are very powerful, and I don't think they should be given out lightly. So, and then some of these power circles are listed here, and it's really cool how some of the symbols that they use in these things, and I would think they have to be a certain size to use them. Again, you have to, rule of thumb is, in my campaign, circles must be a certain size, regardless of what it is. I've asked people in the community of Palladium, and most people advice would say, rule of thumb is make the circle as big as you want, as far as summoning wise, and as far as yourself. Now, sometimes that doesn't apply because there's swarms of things that you can summon, so how could you compensate for that? My suggestion from that thing was just make a minimum size of whatever every circle has to be at minimum, and then make the large size, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you have a minimum, you could just say in your campaign world that the thing expands to accommodate whatever large thing you're summoning. If it's a swarm, it'll just grow bigger enough to get the swarm to come out of it. If it's something for a large demon or something, it'll just grow to the size that you need. That's what I've determined in my campaign, just to make things simple and easy. I don't want any problems arising from vague rules in 1E. The summoner has 5 elective skills at level 1 and gets 6 secondary skills at level 1. They do have a good forte of skills for elective skills, and they do have some decent secondary bonuses. 2101 experience point would be the next level 2, which would start a lot of things. One thing I did forget to note is that summoners have the ability to decipher circles when they see them. They can walk up to a circle and figure out what it was used for, what type of invocation was used, how it was used, maybe even when it was used, kind of like a forensic expert when looking at things. It's a very small percentage, but it does increase as they go up in level. You could probably use this ability to help summoners maybe learn power circles, because if maybe you have some by another summoner in your campaign, they find it, they're not familiar with it, they can look at the symbols and how it was written and go, whoa, I don't even know this, and maybe I can use this, and write it down, and maybe you can have them study it and have them roll a percentage along the way as they're studying it, or just say after a certain week or so, this particular power word, for example. It's really up to you how you do it in your campaign. That is the summoner class. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, have you played the summoner class in your campaigns? What do you think about summoners? Do you follow the high seas and use those rules in it, or you just use the book as written? Because I think the book as written has a lot of brokenness to it. Oh, and the IQ is 10 and minimum ME is 14 for this class, I forgot to mention. Though a lot of times I do ignore those things because I think people should be able to play what they need to play, and if they don't meet the minimum requirements, why not, as a GM, let them roll again, or just push it up to those minimum requirements so they can play the class that they want to play. But with that said, I'm going to head out. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to the video, like the video. Unscripted Evil, Friday night, 7:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on my channel, live. Keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.